Sarah Elkins is a speaker, writer, coach, and professional musician. As a coach, Sarah helps people and businesses better understand how to find their stories, organize them, and share them across platforms. She's an active blogger and contributor to Thrive Global, Ariana Huffington's latest project, LinkedIn, BB, and her own website, elkinsconsulting.com. She also is the president of Elkins Consulting, the company making a splash with small, face-to-face, affordable interactive conferences called No Longer Virtual. Please welcome Sarah Elkins.
Yeah, of course.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's
lower?
good.
Yeah? Lower, maybe.
Oh, I'm not that short. Let's put that up just a little bit. It's been fun listening to these other stories. All these women talking about being so outdoorsy. They grew up here. They fish, they hunt, they camp. That's not me. I'm not that girl. I was raised in a Jewish household. I was born in Washington, D.C. Not exactly the mecca of recreational opportunities. Mecca for something, but not that. So I wasn't sure what my husband saw in me that I didn't see, that he decided to introduce me to camping, canoeing, fly fishing. Yeah, right? And I will never forget going out this first time fly fishing on this little lake in Northern Virginia, and we're sitting in a little paddle boat, and he had showed me on the banks where I wouldn't get caught in stuff how to cast. And I will never forget sitting in that boat and casting and watching my arm go like this and looking up and watching this loop of line and watching the bug just drop into the water. Now, I like to gamble, but I don't like to waste money. So that's kind of weird. But fishing is perfect for that, because every time I cast, I think, this next one, I'm going to catch something. So it was probably my third or fourth cast, and I caught this little sunfish, and I was hooked. Hooked. Come on. We got the chance to move from Washington, D.C. to Montana, and Bob Head taught me how to fish on the slow-moving, semi-warm Shenandoah, on the Potomac, on the Susquehanna River. And then he introduced me to Montana rivers. And he took me out to the little Blackfoot. And we had this little baby with us, because we had just moved here when he was 6 months old. And I casted in the little Blackfoot River, and I caught little fish. And I was pretty pleased with that, developed some confidence. And then he took me to the big river. And I'm pretty confident, I think. So as we're getting out of the car, I said, I'll take the baby in the backpack, you take the dog, you go upstream, and I'll go downstream. Now, I don't know if you noticed, I'm kind of small. So the backpack comes to here, and the baby's 20 pounds. That's a big baby. Yeah, I'm not a big person, but I'm pretty confident, so I think I can fish with the baby on my back. I just won't go that deep. And we went out, and Bob went upstream, and I went downstream, and I found this spot that I knew was going to be perfect. And I have the baby in the back, and I'm humming this song, because I always have a song in my head. And I put on what I call a woolly bugger, because I hadn't seen any fish rising to eat off of the surface. And I love fishing. I'm watching the water, I'm watching the bugs. Nothing's coming up to the surface. So I figured they're probably eating just below the surface. So I put on this hand-tied, I tied 2 bugs, ever. And one of them was on this line. It was a woolly bugger. It's supposed to emulate a minnow in the water. And I walked out, and I'm wearing Tevas and shorts. And I start to walk out into the water, and the baby's fast asleep. And this one song pops into my head. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water, and God's gonna trouble the water. Now that should have been a hint, but I'm kind of oblivious. So I'm stepping into the water, and it's pretty cold, and it's moving pretty fast, but I see this spot across the river, and I know there's a fish in it. It's this perfect, deep little pool, and there are reeds coming up, and the willows are kind of dangling over this pool, and I just know there's a big fish in there. So I whip out my woolly bugger, and I let the line come out, and I love that click, click, click sound when you're pulling the line out of the reel. And I'm moving my arm at the 10 and 2 that my husband taught me, and I'm watching this line, and it's so beautiful. And I cast, and I let go, and the woolly bugger lands just where I want it to land, and it goes just downstream. Nothing. Damn. It's okay, the baby's asleep. It's quiet. I have time. So I pull my arm back again, and I cast again. Plop. Nothing. I'm going to do this again. I know there's a fish in there, and I know he's going to eat my woolly bugger. And I'm going to be able to show off this, 12-inch rainbow. So I cast again, but this time I'm getting a little cocky, and I cast, and it lands right in the reeds. And I feel it take a little tug, and I think, because I'm hopeful, I think maybe it's a fish. So I go to set the hook, and I flip the rod a little bit, and boy, did I set the hook. But not in a fish. And I could feel it, and it's tight, and I'm thinking, I'm going to lose my woolly bugger that I tied myself. And I'm pretty stressed about this. So I'm trying all of the tricks that my husband taught me how to do. I'm pulling the line tight and then letting it loose like a rubber band. I'm putting the tip of the rod in the water and just kind of wiggling it around, and nothing, it's not going to come loose. And I finally get so aggravated, and I pull on my rod, and I feel the line go loose. I lost my woolly bugger. So I reel in all the extra line, and I look up, and it gets worse. I broke the tip off my rod. Now I'm angry. So I turn around to go walking out of the river, and suddenly the reality hits me. I've been taking steps deeper and deeper and deeper into the water. I don't even realize where I am until I turn around. And you know those movies where you see the tunnel and it gets longer and longer as you're running? That's what it looked like. And I'm turned around, the baby's asleep, and the water is rushing, and it's cold, and it's up to my mid-thighs. That's high for somebody that has chicken legs. I mean, that's big water for somebody as small as I am, with a 20-pound baby and a 10-pound pack on my back. So I'm walking back very slowly, taking these little steps, and I'm gripping my rod in my hand, and I feel my toe hit a rock, and I went down. And I'm literally on my hands, my legs up in the air. The baby is on my pack pushing me down, and my face is maybe 2 inches from the rushing water. And I think we're both gonna drown. I was panicked. But to make it worse, I see the baby's hand in slow motion drop from the side of the backpack and splash in the water. And I braced myself. I still have the rod in my hand. Don't ask me why. And I braced myself thinking, if he shifts his weight, I'm in big trouble. Because if he screams when he wakes up, he's going to shift. But being my water baby that he is, I'm filled with relief as I see his hand start splashing. And I hear this, oh! So now I feel content that I can call to my husband, right, to come help me because I'm stuck. Bob! Bob! I don't want the baby to panic. If I start to panic, the baby's going to freak out and he's going to scream. So I'm saying, Bob! And now I start to really get scared, and I'm screaming, "Bob, I could use some help!" And my voice is starting to crack because I'm scared. And I realize he can't hear me. No one's going to help me. If I push myself too hard, I'm going to fall backward, and we're both going to drown. Somehow, I'm crawling my way out. I still don't know how I manage, but the mama bear comes out. Somehow I manage to climb out of the water. And I'm standing at the bank when Bob comes around the corner. He says, "You go for a swim?" I said, "No." And I told him what happened. And at the end of my story, tears start to come. I lost my woolly bugger, and I broke my rod. And he said, "Sarah, you're officially a Montana angler."